Hello and welcome to 11 Alive Midday at 11 a.m. I'm Ariana Manise. We begin today with breaking coverage of the deadly New Year's Day attack in New Orleans, Louisiana. At any moment, authorities will be holding a news conference, giving us the latest information on the investigation into that terror attack that happened early New Year's Day. We'll bring that to you as soon as it begins. Right now, you're looking at a shot as they prepare for that news conference. We're also now looking at a live shot of Bourbon Street, typically a busy place filled with tourists and attractions. The area is quiet after a man drove through crowds of people in the early hours of New Year's Day, hitting college football fans and also New Year's Eve revelers. Police say this is the man who was behind the wheel of the truck. The FBI has identified the suspect as Shamsud-Din Jabbar. He's a 42-year-old U.S. citizen from Texas who graduated from Georgia State University. Jabbar spent a decade in the Army. He was killed on the scene during a shootout with police. Federal agents have taken the lead in this investigation. Right now, we have team coverage following the newest developments out of New Orleans. We're going to get to our Karis Belger, who is keeping an eye on security measures for today's Sugar Bowl. Liza Lucas is looking into the suspects' ties to Georgia. Let's start with Karis, who joins us live from the newsroom. Karis.
Well, in just a few hours, we learned from our sister station that New Orleans authorities have cleared the scene and are working to reopen parts of Bourbon Street where this attack happened. That's scheduled to take place at some point this afternoon. No exact timeline has been given, but the intention is to reopen that street at some point today. The FBI, as you mentioned, is leading this investigation, and Army veteran Shamsud-Din Jabbar is the person responsible for driving a pickup truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street. That's what authorities are saying. Jabbar, a GSU graduate, was born and raised in Texas, and authorities confirmed an ISIS flag was on the back of the truck that was used in the attack. They are now exploring other possible connections to terrorist groups, and investigators have now cleared 4 people who were previously being looked into in connection with the explosive devices found on Bourbon Street during the initial investigation. But the FBI is also still exploring the possibility that Jabbar may have had additional accomplices.
Let it be clear that the full faith and credit of the United States and every agency therein is on the ground, working. And for those who may have played a role in this horrific act of cowardice, we will find you.
And we know there are still concerns about the Sugar Bowl and additional security precautions. The security perimeter around the Superdome has been extended. Bomb dogs have been sniffing out the stadium in anticipation for the game, and additional barricades were added as well. As we mentioned, we know there is a news conference expected within the hour. Just a few moments, we're expecting that to happen, and we'll continue to keep you updated with what we learn. Ariana?
Thank you, Karis. Turning now to Liza Lucas, who's live in Atlanta this morning as we continue to learn more about the suspects' ties to Georgia. Liza?
Ariana, yes, as we try and figure out the how and why this all unfolded. As you mentioned, we're digging into the suspect's background and time spent here in the metro. But first, let's recap from the FBI. Federal investigators describing 42-year-old Jabbar, the suspect, as a U.S. citizen from Texas, an Army veteran who served in Afghanistan Now, in a YouTube video posted 4 years ago, Jabbar identifies himself as a realtor. Take a listen.
I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston.
Now rewind several years before that video. We know the suspect also graduated from Georgia State University back in 2017. State records also show he formed his own business at the time, though that business has since been dissolved, and it's not clear what that business pertained to. We're going to continue to dig. But meanwhile, DeKalb court records also show Jabbar appeared to have been married during his time living in the metro. Court filings also showed he subsequently filed for divorce in 2016. Now, it's still not clear when he left the state. NBC News reporting he has been married and divorced multiple times. Now, in addition to learning more about the suspect, we are also working our sources to learn more about those intimately impacted by this attack. Of course, we're talking about the victims, those injured, as well as those unfortunately killed. We'll bring you the latest updates as we have them ahead for you at 11:30. Live in downtown Atlanta, Liza Lucas, 11 Alive News.
Thank you, Liza. Right now, authorities in Washington, D.C. say they're on high alert following the deadly attack in New Orleans. Law enforcement has surrounded the streets around the Capitol and the White House with barriers and have officers standing watch around the clock. The district is preparing for 3 major events in the coming weeks. The congressional certification of the presidential election, which is set to take place on Monday, followed by the state funeral of former President Jimmy Carter and the presidential inauguration. Coming up at 11:30, we have more on how D.C. officials plan to secure this area.